What's up, summoners? King Blair here. So our run in the Shogun Winter Snowdown Cup has ended against our opponent Jinx. We did go 2-1, and the fights were fire. I will be analyzing those fights later on in this video. Thank you, Jinx, for giving me such amazing fights. And even though we lost, this fight taught me a lot about my account and things I need to work on in the future for future tournaments. So while we may not have made it to the top 8 this time, catch me in my training arc over winter, and you'll see me coming in the spring, a new and improved King Blair. But yeah, let's get into the fights. Also, thank you so much, Shogun, for hosting this tournament and helping and just doing this for the community. It's really great. So go check out his channel. Link will be down in the description. Right, let's go into the fights, analyzing some things I learned from them and what I'm going to be doing moving forward to become a better player overall. If you like the video and you are excited for the journey that we have ahead of us, make sure you like, subscribe, and join the Discord server. This coming Monday, I will be doing a full account overview so you guys can see where I am right now, and we'll see in a couple of months after winter break where I am afterwards. Right, enough about that, let's get to the fights. So let's start with round 1. So all these clips are sped up to 1.5 speed because the fights took almost 30 minutes. It was a very intense fight. He used a very defensive comp, and I also did as well, so that's why the fights took so long. Hopefully with the 1.5 speed, it's a lot quicker for us to get through it. But essentially, I banned the Rylet because I saw he was using Rylet a lot. I go with Falconeer Clury, going safe. We go with my typical Falconeer Clury Lilius draft. It's safe, it covers Falconeer Clury's counters, it's good against ML Haste, and I do know he also likes to use Craw and very tanky team comp, so I know that picking Falconeer Clury is a good choice. I didn't realize that he owned an A Tywin, and I would have picked my own A Tywin had I known that he owned an A Tywin, and because of that, we are going to be taking a lot of hate from this A Tywin. He also has an ML Crawl that I had no idea, so all the scouting that I did was not enough for me, so I'm like, okay, it's getting kind of dangerous. I decided to go Robbie because Robbie has a really good matchup against very tanky teams, and the Dieni as well, because Dieni is also a very good counter towards ML Crow, since Dieni can set up the barrier. On his side, he has a very defensive team comp. He knows I only have one form of main sustain and one side sustain, and he already has a lot of tanky units. He decides to go with Crow here, locking in that 3 Knight plus the ML Haste. That's a lot of damage mitigation. That's an Adamant Shield, because the ML Crow was not on portrait. That's an Aureus on the Crow. That's a 10% on the ML Haste if I ban one or the other. And the Dizzy for the debuff, since I didn't have that many ways to do debuffs. It's kind of rough, right? I need to be able to booster this massive tank team out. But the thing about it is the later it gets into Frenzy, the more likely he is to win because of Crow, and ML Haste. I have to end up banning the Dizzy since I have no way to deal with it, and I end up picking Arabi again for being another tank buster unit that can also do a lot of damage against this ML Tywin and the ML Crow with the Falconeer Clury. He ends up banning the Arabi since it is a big counter, and I end up banning the Dizzy since I don't have that many ways to deal with the Dizzy, and it could really make the fight. And then we start the fight. I get a lot of early speeds, which is really, really good. I go for the S3, and Falconeer Clury misses the critical S3. This turned the tide of the battle completely because I would have had a strip, a decreased defense, and all these things, and would have been able to get rid of the ML Craw much earlier. We do land the stun on the Lilius, and I go for an S2 here to mitigate some of that ML Craw damage, since now he is going to get the horse and he is going to set up that immunity, where I would have been able to deny him that had we landed the Falconeer Clury. So have to play from the mistakes, and he will get it. I do notice it's a 28k HP Crow, so this is a very tanky team. He does go for it. We do get a counter, which was really, really nice. But he's going to be able to set up everything, increase defense, immunity. I'm not going to be landing any debuffs anytime soon. I'm not going to be doing almost any damage. It's going to be one of those long frenzy fights, right? So it's already setting up to be a long frenzy fight. And I know his A Tywin is going to be doing a lot of work, but I want that A Tywin to not get to S3 until I'm ready to use the S2. He starts proccing Elris Sword when I'm attacking the ML Crown. And this Elris Sword is going to be proccing a lot. We see it proccing over and over again. And then I realize, I'm like, I have to stop poking down this ML Crow. I am going to have to start going onto this A Tywin. So the second the provoke goes down, I start setting up the Dieni again to be able to do the S3 so she can get the cycle. And when the A Tywin eventually takes a turn, be ready to have that S2 on the Dieni to cleanse the debuffs. So again, I keep going with this A Tywin because I know the only way I win this fight is by killing this A Tywin. That is my only win condition. I'm going to have to deal with the ML Craw. I was not able to land the critical decrease defense early in the fight. And the later the fight gets, the more dangerous it gets for me because of the crowd and the Mo haste. He lands a provoke, and I do counter here, which is not ideal because it makes it so I keep hitting the Mokra, and the Mokra is going lower, getting him closer to horse range. And he also gets the dual attack there to provoke the Ravi, making it harder for me to start taking down that A Tywin. So again, getting a lot of luck on his side. We do get a small counter dual attack there, but it was with the Lilius, and we just keep harping on him. Here comes the S3. We get our first stroke of good luck here, but he was able to get the 10 souls to Soulburn right here, which does give me the big stun. But because he doesn't land it on the Lilius, we are able to cleanse it. Only problem is that Emokra is going to be giving a barrier and is going to be getting more turns down for the S3. So again, it's getting very dangerous for me because the longer the fight goes, the more dangerous it is. I decide to S2 here, try to give my Lilius a little bit of health, keep her alive since he's going for her a lot. I see that there's no immunity and the crowd's about to go up, so I was like, let me try to hit the crowd. And we do end up hitting the crowd, which was very lucky on our part, but we do not land the stun, which means that he will get to take the turn, so we won't get that pushback, right? So, and then the A Tywin cleanses off all the stuns. Again, A Tywin a really good matchup against Ravi. He decides to S3 here, which is a very big mistake because now he doesn't have that for the late game, right? So the fact that he didn't kill right here is extremely dangerous on his part because it makes it so he can't kill me later on. And since we get the dual attack with the Ravi, he won't be able to kill with the A Tywin right away, right? So all we need is one more counter from A Ravi, since we do have a counter A Ravi, and we would be able to heal back up. So that would be amazing if that were to happen. He starts going on the Lilius again because he knows it's pretty dangerous if my Ravi gets the heal off. We go for an S3. We actually get it this time on the A Tywin, and I will be able to finish off the A Tywin. So him using the horse early, really, really critical mistake. It's looking a lot better for me right now, but Emokra is about to take his turn, and the Emo Haste also has this S3 backup. I decided to Soulburn, but I think I should have not Soulburn and just done it on the Emo Haste raw, because that would have led my Ravi to one-shot one of his units when she takes her next turn. So that was a huge mistake on my part. I should have either taunted the Emokra or not Soulburn onto the Emo Haste, because then now he is going to be able to horse and do a bunch of true damage and kill my Lilius, taking off the provoke. So that was the mistake I did. I should have gone for the Emo Crow because that's where the damage is at. Huge misplay on my part right there, but I don't have enough healing, and his Emo Haste is about to take a huge dunk against me. And since I didn't have the Soulburn here to get rid of this Crow, and even if we did, we probably wouldn't be able to kill the Emo Crow. This game is pretty much GG. Emo Haste and Cross showing why they're so powerful units in these mega tank teams is because if you aren't able to kill them earlier in the game, it gets very dangerous. So right here, we're very low health, we don't get a counter, and because of that, we do die. So kind of sucks we didn't get any counters against the Emo Haste or the regular Crow. And at this point, the fight is pretty much over since I know I can't kill all the knights. So he was able to successfully tank out. And I realized he's going to be playing very tanky. I still don't want him to have the Rylet because I saw how powerful his Ross is and how powerful his Rylet is. So let's move on to round 2. So for round 2, he gets the first pick again, and this is one thing that I didn't. I believe he gets the first pick here, but I do bet the Rylet again. He does get the first pick again, yeah. So he gets first pick all 3 games, right? So he always gets to pick the unit he wants first. And he goes very similar with the Emo Haste, but this time I'm like, I cannot let you have A Tywin. Now that I know he has A Tywin, I have to take that A Tywin away from him, right? So I take away the A Tywin, so because that A Tywin with the Elris sword made me have almost no souls to deal with anything and completely shut down our Ravi S3. He does pick his Ross as his other knight that will carry some damage mitigation, which makes it feel like he's gonna bring a booster on his side to be able to use as much from the Ross. He does pick the Emo Craw as well in this scenario. Again, going very, very tanky, high defense penetration, super scary team. I go with Danny again to counter the Emo Craw as well as the Ross, since Danny has a really good matchup against those two, since I know my Danny will be faster than that Emo Craw, right? So I can set up that barrier early. He decides to go for a Ravi as a booster, kind of to scare me a little bit, since I do have a lot of other units that can actually stun and do things like that. And on my end, I'm like, okay, I need a little bit more damage, or I'm not going to be able to break through this wall if he decides to ban the Ravi. He does also pick Seaside here, and I don't have a lot of ways to deal with the Seaside, and I was worried that he would ban the top model Luluka, and then I have no way to deal with the Seaside, and then we just lose the fight. So I end up banning the Seaside. It was kind of a no-brainer for me. Because if I don't ban Seaside and he bans top model Luluka, I lose, right? So it was one of those scenarios that was like really, really risky. He ends up banning Falconeer Flurry, leaving my top model Luluka, which made me know that he knew his Ross was faster than my top model. Because he was trusting in his Ross, and he was right. His Ross was faster than my top model, which means he will get that turn 1. So he definitely did the right ban there with the Falconeer Flurry, because then I don't get the guaranteed turn with the top model or with the Ravi. He doesn't get the decreased defense, so we get a little bit of lucky RNG there, which will allow us to do top model Luluka S2, meaning she will be hidden from damage for some time. Start going onto this Emma Craw, because that's his biggest damage there, right? The Emma Craw and the Ravi. We do some really good damage, and we can set up S3. I decided to S3 instead of S2 because I was more worried about units like the Ravi doing damage rather than the Emma Craw piercing through. So I decided to save the S2 to also extend the barrier on the top model loop, right? So that was the idea behind it. So I used the S1. Our team's fine. It's kind of chilling. Still going on the Emma Craw because last time we saw that Emma Craw was able to destroy me. Goes for an Emma Haste S3 onto the Ravi, which is super scary, and we get the counter attack. And I notice this is an Idol Shear Emma Haste. The anti-crit buff actually works here, and we get another counter attack, giving us even more health, which was just amazing and just so lucky. We get the S2 to heal back up. He's probably fuming at this point because it's like double Ravi. That's pretty freaking good, right? Goes for the S1, and we get another counter attack to get even more health. So the Emma Haste allowed us to be able to survive the Ravi, and the Ravi one just let us get even more health to go back to basically full health. So he kind of wasted a lot of turns trying to take down my Ravi, and he realizes, alright, this Ravi is going to be counterattacking. I can't kill her. He's going to be too much damage. Let's start working on this A-Tai-Win. Now once my immunity falls, he's going to be able to do a lot more damage. So he starts working on the A-Tai-Win to be able to deny me that stun later on. I'm just trying to cycle Danny as fast as possible. My top model is going to lose stealth here. I decided not to soul burn because I wanted to save the souls for the A-Tai-Win and the Ravi for later in the game. And we don't get the lucky duel, which, again, you can't have all the luck, right? So we got the good counterattacks, and he does end up taking away the top model since we didn't kill them recall. I see that there's no immunity. I go for the S3 on the Ravi, and we don't get the kill, but we do get massive stuns across the board, which are huge in helping us out. Our A-Tai-Win lives by the skin of his teeth, and since the Emma Craw is about to die, I don't mind doing the A-Tai-Win. I soul burn it because I'm like, we have to land it on this A-Ravi. We don't land it, but we do land it on the Emma Craw, so that will allow us a little bit time of room to breathe, and we set up the S3 again with Yanni. And I know since the A-Ravi is slowed, we will be able to lap her, right? So I set up the S2, which will give me a little bit of breathing room and make me a little bit more okay with like against this A-Ravi. Keep S1ing with A-Tai-Win. Trying to provoke the Ross there so he doesn't get the S2, but we don't get the provoke. Anti-crit, again, doing its job. Showing why Diani is still a really, really good defender. Still working on the A-Ross, because I'm not sure what he's going to do. He does end the decreased defense, but he doesn't do enough damage this time, which will let us go into another S3, which I decided to soul burn just in case, and I really needed to stun this Emma. Something tells me that he wasn't getting lucky with counterattacks, and I know I have to kill the A-Ravi here or I lose the fight. So I end up soul burning, we landed, and we kill A-Ravi. So again, Ravi, pretty broken with the soul burn. And at this point, the fight is pretty much over. He doesn't have the damage to deal with Ravi. My Ravi will just be able to kill the rest of his team, and he can't even kill the A-Tai-Win at this point. So that will be the game, and we are going to a round. This round, Jinx, at this point, knows what the threats I have on his team. I still go for the Rylet ban, and he gets first pick again, which sucks that he got first picks all 3 times throughout the tournament. But it's a part of Tourney. He picks away the A-Tai-Win because we both realize at this point, A-Tai-Win kind of dominates the fight, right? I end up picking away his ML Haste, which was a huge misplay on my part because I don't have a good ML Haste, right? So my ML Haste is not that good, and I don't have the team to work with it. So that was a really bad pick on my part, and I let him keep the Craw, I let him keep the Ross, I let him keep the Lilius, I let him keep all these different units and allow him to steal away from me. So he picks Craw again because, again, he is a tank player. Craw is really good for those big wall tank teams. So very good pick on his side with the ML Craw again. Even though I do have the ML Haste this time and he doesn't get the double defense penetration, he also does have the option to go on Craw here. But instead, he decides to steal away my Ravi because he knows that's one of my counter boosters. And I don't have that many other booster breakers since he banned the Stene. So that's putting me in a really difficult spot. Here's where I start realizing that as a player, I really need to work on my bruisers, because when he took the A Ravi, he realized that was the only thing I was using, that Ravi and the A Ravi. The fact that he took that away means I don't have a huge damage threat that can survive the burst from his team, which is so bad on my part. If I had any bruiser like Shu, Rylan, any of these bruisers that could survive and do work and kill these tanks, I could have won. But because I don't have that as a player, and it's something I need to improve upon, I have to go for the top model Luluka to kind of combo off with the fucking Flurry and apply some damage threat. Then now here's the part where my MO Haste pick starts hurting again as well, because now he has access to pick Lilius and go again triple knight, full damage mitigation, full destruction, right? Like, I'm not breaking through this team easily, right? And he knows this because I only have Factory Flurry. MO Haze is not doing much. That MO Haze is basically a dead pick at this point. He has no revives. He has nothing that my MO Haze can do good against him. I considered pulling the Ruel, but then I realized if he bans the top model Luluka, there is nothing I can do to actually break his team. So I realized I have to go for another booster, and I end up going for A Ravi, since A Ravi, again, there is some light units in here that I can make A Ravi work. I have to ban the A Tywin. Hindsight, I should have banned the Alencia, because Alencia has a really good matchup against top model Luluka. So I honestly should have banned the Alencia instead of the A Tywin, because that would allow my top model to be in the game longer, because there's no way for him to feature as quickly. He does ban the A Ravi. Probably shouldn't have banned the A Tywin, but I was just worried that the stuns would just overwhelm me. We go into the game. That's a fast Lilius. My top model is around 238 speed, so Lilius is anywhere from 240 to 250. Right? We do land double. He does dual attack with the right unit, and he gets a stun here, which kind of sucks. We go with the top model Luluka, and I was shocked at how tanky his Lilius was, because my top model has really good offensive stats, and it's not even close to being enough. The Aureus, the Adamant Shield, all the different things are just too much, and then even with the MO Haste, it's not enough, which then I realized this is a high defense Lilius, high speed, high everything, because it's over 23k HP, over 240 speed, and over like 14k defense, 1.4k defense. I was like, oh man, this is not good, right? So he comes in with the Alencia, strips the top model, has the Ravi, has everything against me, and I haven't even killed his Lilius, right? So I can't even go 1 for 1. And I'm looking at the team and I'm like, this game kind of looks over. He lands another freaking stun with the freaking Ravi. That's 30%, which again just takes away so much damage from my side of the team. Because at this point we can't even kill the Lilius. Right? We're trying to kill the Lilius, but we can't. Right? We can't even kill the Lilius. We do get the dual attack, but we have no damage at this point. And at this point, it was pretty much over. He just outdrafted me all the way through. Once he kills top model, I have 0 damage threats on my side, and he still has 2 huge bruisers that I am not going to be able to kill. I kind of knew at this point, it's kind of like, it was pretty much over. I was kind of hoping that maybe we'd be able to kill this Crow somehow, and then lock down the rest of his team with fucking Glory. But I honestly should have surrendered at this point. It was just kind of like, I was just kind of like in a self-reflection phase at this point. Because I got walled out, I got outdrafted. He stole the A Tywin, he stole the Ravi, he stole the Lilius, and I don't have a way to deal with his team, right? So very good draft on his side. Shows how good of a player he really was. And right here, when I saw the Crow Horse, I knew it was over. So very good on his side. Very solid draft, very tanky. Took away all my tank busters, took away all my bruisers, took away all my top picks, and left me with nothing. At this point, I kind of knew that I really need to help my team, and let's go to the conclusions, because I did learn a lot from these fights. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope y'all enjoyed the video and the fights. It was a really good time. I enjoyed the fights. I don't feel as bad as I did when I lost in the previous cup, because I felt like I played it as well as I could have with my current account. So there's going to be a lot of work that I will need to do. All in all, some mistakes and some conclusions that I got from the fight. He really knew my account after the second fight. He knew what I was going to pick. So the fact that he had that information allowed him to take away a lot of my power picks. This means it was more of like, while the gear may have been similar, I don't have the same unit pool that he does. So moving forward, I need to build a lot more units and a lot of different teams because he already knew what I was going to try to go Bruiser instead of me being able to go Control. So definitely down the line, I definitely want to build a Control team or another type of team that I can switch into for when the opponent already has an idea of how I'm playing. I'm able to easily counteract the opponent. So overall, not a lot I could have done differently. I enjoyed the fights. It was good. Congratulations, Jinx. I will be watching you tomorrow. And for everyone, staying tuned for the big power leveling that I'll be doing over the winter in the training arc. That's all I got for you guys today. I'll see y'all next time.